We are live. Wow, that countdown, I nailed that countdown
You
too.
did. You really did
Yeah.
nail that countdown.
I
I
don't
wish
even
the
have the clock
viewers
on me.
I wish the viewers could have witnessed that greatness, but they didn't get the opportunity to. Brad, we're back. Indiana Hoosiers Live 42. Actually, I want to start off the pod just by sending love and prayers to the Farrell family. We got news yesterday from Kurt Signetti's press conference that Amari Farrell, his mother had passed away. So, we're sending love, sending prayers, positive vibes, and all that stuff. Just letting Amari and the family know we're thinking about them, and they're in our thoughts for sure.
Yeah, some well-needed time off for Amari Farrell as he prepares for hopefully an inspired season this year for his mom. So, yeah, rest in peace. Sending thoughts and prayers to the family.
Yep. Obviously, definitely don't want to start off on a lower note, but definitely did want to get.
I think it was
Amari know
appropriate to go first one. I think that's a good way to do it. That's why you drive the bus.
Yeah, it's it's the little things. Some things are bigger than football, and family is definitely one of them.
It's
And
little details. Some things are bigger than sports, Keys. Don't forget that. Some things.
this is true.
Oh.
But no, we have a loaded show today. There is a lot going on. John's right in the chat early. 18 days until football season. Good evening to you too, Brian. We've got plenty to get through. We got a Roe Hardy press conference. We got Roman Hemby and Kalen Black pressers.
The big reveal of Elijah Hardy.
We got Indiana's feature on the Big Ten Network. That was last Friday. We'll break all that down too. And we got plenty of smoke to get to. Brad, I want to start here. More big picture, get into the Indiana specific stuff as we move on. But the Big Ten, the conference itself today, tweeted out a picture of a lock and basically said there's an announcement coming tomorrow. And I apologize if you hear the dogs in the background. The guy showed up with
I heard him that time.
Putting shutters on the house right now. It's 8:00 local. So it's listen, whenever you can get the work done, right? But yeah. So I apologize for that in the background. But the Big Ten tweeted out a lock, said that there's an announcement coming tomorrow. So depending on when you're listening to this, that'll be Wednesday, August 13th. And there is rampant speculation that that announcement is going to be the expansion of the Big Ten Conference. Now, there are a bunch of different schools I've seen people throw out. I saw Grok throw out a couple of schools. Initially, before we jump into that, what are your first thoughts? Because I know you really didn't look at the news today. So where does your head go when you hear something like that?
Just a lock? Like, I don't know, it could be anything. I feel like a lock could allude to we're locking in this 18. No more expansion. It could be that announcement. Could be could be anything, really. Do you want to play the game where if it is an expansion, who could it be? You want to play?
Well, I found this account recently, and of course my tweets aren't going to load now, but yeah, I do want to play this game. The two schools I saw that were tabbed for the Big Ten were Miami and Florida State. There's an account called Big Ten Information who said that there are only a handful of schools that would even add like positive value, like over or more than $2 million to the conferences or whatever the numbers ended up being. And that was like Clemson, Florida State, Miami. Not including Notre Dame in that because they don't want to be in a conference. So Florida State and Miami are the two schools that are popping up. The Big Ten definitely wants to break into Florida. Those two schools make perfect sense to me. How do they fit the Big Ten in your mind?
I think it would be awesome. Again, that Florida footprint, especially that rivalry. All of a sudden, Miami, Florida State's a Big Ten rivalry. Love that. Just expand all the way. We enter the South. We've officially reached SEC country, and now we can start claiming it as our own. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a big historian, fan of the sport, always loved the U. Obviously, I think Florida State has some of the coolest helmets in the game, some of the coolest traditions in the sport as well, to their own right. And obviously, just the lore of what the U is, those 30 for 30 videos. Loved those growing up. Ed Reed, I think, is the greatest football player to ever play the game. And to have that type of tradition coming to the Big Ten, I think it's a perfect fit. Academically, I think they're right there, right? They're both top 100 universities, so they fit the mold as well. In that regard, which
Miami,
I think is super important.
Yeah.
I think that would be the most realistic option. I would love to have Cal and Stanford be in the conference as well. Just like get them out of the ACC. Like they just don't belong there. Bring them home. We get all of California. We get San Francisco as well. It's a huge market. Maybe not so much for football, but just in terms of media and attention. Like if Sanford's good, I mean, the Bay is buzzing. Like that's just how it goes. And Cal's had great tradition in their own right as well. And you could bring some of those Californian rivalries to the conference as well. I think those would be great additions. Maybe not financially, but just traditionally, I think they'd make a great addition to the conference. Maybe start a little Stanford Northwestern rivalry. I think that would be awesome.
Is there a number? Is there a number you like for the conference? Is there a cap? Do you think this thing just goes? Do you think that eventually it's just going to merge with the SEC and it'll be one big super conference?
We're way past my number, so I don't care 10, at this point. 8? To be honest, I don't. It could be 28 at this point. I could care less. Yeah, I think 22 would be a solid one to land on. Maybe go to a solid 20 is a good number. Just good round number divisible by 5. Love that. And in that sense, you could almost make it 5 divisions. And
yeah, I was about to say, do we
make
see
it a Big
divisions?
10 playoff to win the championship?
I mean, that was something Signetti was basically talking about in his media day press conferences. Was like, you need a way for 3 to play 6 and 4 to play 5, and if you just had divisions and you had the 4 best teams, I don't know. I don't really want to see divisions come back as like
Nebraska because they get looped into that West Coast division because they're the most West team.
No, dude, they would be in like I would have to.
They get last place in that division every year.
No, it'd be teams of 5. It'd be the 4 West Coast teams plus Cal or Stanford. Who are you taking out of that West Coast division to put in Nebraska?
We're at 18, so I'm assuming it's Florida State, Miami to make it 20. So if we're doing 4 divisions of 5 each, it would be the West Coast and Nebraska. And that would be nightmare fuel for that program because
that is true.
They don't beat UCLA and they're nowhere near the programs of Washington, Oregon, and USC. So these days, that would stink for them in every sense of the word. Yeah, I like playing this game. What other schools out there? What if we went Texas, like SMU?
Did not see them come up. I don't see like SMU feels like an SEC school to me. Like Clemson feels like an SEC school. I thought North Carolina
out of the box rivalry because we're talking pairs, right? So you got to have like a buddy, right? So if you bring SMU, you got to bring TCU. Here's one outside the box: Pittsburgh and West Virginia. I think that would be cool.
I like that personally. I personally like that, but.
Yeah,
I don't know if people go for that. Like my head goes to like Arizona State, or like Arizona State and BYU or something like that.
It'd have to be Utah BYU. That would be the combo, which would be cool for the conference. A little Rocky Mountain action, Mountain time zone infiltration for the conference final.
I think we're eventually heading towards a super conference anyway, where you have like the Big Ten and SEC. Even if they don't officially partner or if they don't officially merge, it becomes like a partnership where like there's crossover, like 3 or 4 or 5 crossover games per year, and like we're headed that way.
So many games. I liked it when it was. I've said this on the Mark Rogers Big Ten show. I liked it when it was 10 teams per conference. You play your 9 conference games. You play maybe one big out of conference game, and then you get 2 cupcakes. It's really how it used to be way back in the day. And I mean, they used to only play 11 games. They expanded to 12 like recently in my lifetime, but I think another cool one, last final thought, UNLV. They've been doing a lot of action in Las Vegas, media day.
Dan Mullen.
Some Big Ten championships. Dan Mullen. I mean, UNLV can have the juice if they really wanted to. They really could. And, yeah, I mean.
Who would you pair with them?
I mean, at that point, you don't even need a rivalry. They would just go West Coast, and then you can kind of just go ad hoc there. Maybe just can't leave out TCU from SMU. At that point, it's like Notre Dame. What's up?
Hey, we know you love that NBC deal, and you guys would like literally control your own destiny. And every school in the country would trade their media rights deal for your media rights deal.
If we could manufacture a deal where they still get basically probably just a little bit more than what they're currently making of the market share, and maybe renegotiate.
They're getting 100% of all the dude. Notre Dame is. You'd have to kill Notre Dame for the drag their carcass into it.
I don't know enough about the numbers. I haven't looked at the numbers, so I don't know.
Well, you just have to think like the Big Ten TV contract is for the conference. The SEC TV contract is for the conference. Notre Dame's TV contract is for Notre Dame.
It's nowhere near as big as those conference deals.
It's not as big as the conferences, but I don't have the numbers sitting in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and stat correct it. But my guess is Notre Dame is making more than the individual
you're
schools
saying
in the conference, which is
impossible for the Big Ten to give enough money in a share.
I mean, think about it logically. If they were
Yeah.
going to make more money in a conference, they would join a conference.
I'm just saying, make it happen. Yeah. Maybe it's happening. Maybe
it's a partnership.
Yeah, the point is the lock can mean anything. It doesn't. It's probably not even what we're talking about right now. That's how I want to wrap this. That's my point. The lock could be anything.
What would be the most absurd thing the lock is? Like, would it be like? Would it be? It would be funny if that was like the official like announcement for like Michigan suspension. That would be hilarious. It's like we finally got Michigan for the Connor Stallions.
I'm seeing some USF buzz. What if we're just axing Maryland? That'd be hilarious.
If we axe schools, I did see USF too. That would be kind of funny if like the Big Ten's like, yeah, we're getting Florida State, we're getting Miami, and no shame to USF. Like I like USF, Tampa market, like beautiful school, beautiful weather, like really good football program. That would be a really sneaky good addition to the Big Ten, but it wouldn't be Miami or Florida State.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're just spitballing out here, chat. I like it. Yeah, Notre Dame's not killing it, obviously. I like that Brian agrees with me with Pitt, West Virginia. Good tradition over there. Love that. Love that game.
It's Signetti country.
Yeah, it's a shame they're not in the same conference anymore. West Virginia blew it, man.
Fat Boy says, my guys, what's good? What is good? It's always good to be talking Hoosier football.
Actually, I take it back. Pitt left first, actually. They went to the ACC. Maybe it was at the same time. I don't know.
Sorry. Hey, H2P. Pitt is it.
Yeah.
Strong Ocean Township lineage at Pittsburgh. That's a...
Yeah, through what? Who? Oh, Kenny? Kenny Pickett? Yeah.
Through Cleveland Browns quarterback Kenny Pickett. Yep.
Yeah. Projected number 2 behind Joe Flacco.
He's got a hammy. He's dealing with a hammy. We got a really cool, different type of video from the Indiana like football media department this past week. We got Coach John Miller, who's the running backs coach. It was like a 2-minute like mini feature about like his coaching style, how he talks to the guys during practice, and it was like part sit down, part like on field mic'd up, and it was very cool, and it was something we hadn't seen before, and especially for like people following the program maybe not as closely as we are, who don't understand how valuable it is to have somebody like John Miller in the room and doing what he's doing. To have the opportunity to put the spotlight on him is awesome. So I thought that content was great. I responded back to Daryl. She loves my kicks. That our I believe he's the director of media, but he's kick ass. And I was just like, yeah, we need more of this. Like, this was awesome.
Yeah, no, I like when they do those features. I mean, they didn't do the sit down before, but they definitely mic'd up the coaches. I remember Pat Kuntz's very booming voice when he lets the boys go and hit in the drills.
They mic'd up Coach O last spring, and it was like I watched that video probably 15 times. Like, he was electric. I was like, I could get me in the back pedal. Like, I could figure it out under Coach O.
Yeah. You just gotta keep your knee. It's all about your knee placement, keys, the back pedal. Keep those hips and knees.
There's video somewhere. I forget the name of the association they were doing it for, but where he's teaching press coverage, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I would clamp you after watching those videos, but that's not the point of this.
You cannot. My get off is so smooth. No one has ever jammed me ever. It's impossible. My technique is too sound.
I wrote this down, or I didn't write this down. I put this in part of the tweet for last week's episode, but I didn't end up getting a chance to talk about it. But there is starting to be a lot of buzz in the class of 2027. Kids are starting to to schedule visits. Interest is starting to, I would say, percolate. Their 4-star safety from Indiana, Caleb Elkins, scheduled his Indiana visit. This is a kid Ohio State's been claiming essentially for like 8 months. Super talented kid from the heart of Indiana. That would be an unbelievable swing if Signetti and the guys could get in there and have that kid end up coming to Indiana. That would be insane. Elijah Kimball, 4-star running back, another guy who's got who's seeing major interest from the Hoosiers. Tate Wallace, 4-star linebacker. Isaac Miller, 3-star edge, number 1 player in Wisconsin. Indiana sent him like 30 letters or something the other day. Roman Igwebike, 4-star linebacker. Joseph McDonough, 4-star defensive lineman. And then obviously the interest from Jalen Brewster and Montrezl Sales, who scheduled his visit. So the class of 2027, things are looking really good. Oh, I lost Brad. I don't even know what happened. But yeah, class of 2027 looks great. Super pumped about that. Guess what? I live here. Oh, here we go. Here's Goom.
Everything,
Whoop, hold on.
First time
you
for
cut
everything.
out there.
I was looking to see if they post those 2027 visits, like those in-game visits on any sites, and I couldn't find any. That I accidentally clicked out of our stream here, and now I'm back. First time. That won't happen again. I promise. But yeah, no, it's super exciting to get like very high quality guys coming on campus for some very big games. I saw a 4-star coming for Illinois. I'm sure there's going to be several guys at Illinois, which makes that even a bigger game than it already was. It's our biggest home game of the year. I would want all of our recruits at that game anyways. And yeah, you got to put your money where your mouth is sometimes,
Yep, 100% agree with that.
Can't just play it safe and put them at UCLA or Wisconsin.
No, I'm with you. And I believe Caleb Elkins, his visit is September 20th, which obviously is that Illinois game.
Yeah. Oh, I have that date circled for a while. Because not only is that
Armin says, Illinois, I'm going to pester.
Not only is September 20th Indiana, Illinois, it's also when Goose comes to town in Chicago. Right?
Goose is in town. We know, Brad. That's why you're not going to the Illinois game. I actually have a real excuse, an actual real excuse.
All right? We open the show with some things are bigger than sports. This is one of those moments. All right, it's a big time band, big time performance. I can do both. It's gonna be an epic day.
Armin says, I'm going to pester Crimson Cast every couple months to talk to you all. You are the heir apparent, in my opinion. A lot of shows cover the team. You two would street brawl for them.
Damn right. You see it on
Twitter.
Very
much appreciate that. Very much appreciate that.
Yeah, we would kind of the vibe we give off a little bit.
I would street brawl for Kurt Signetti's Indiana Hoosiers. Point me in the direction, coach. Let me at him.
I'd street fight for a few of these guys. I honestly, all these guys written on my little notepad here. On my anyone who has a scholarship, and then also Jeff Utzinger, Andrew Turvey, and Jack Greer, I would also street brawl for. I don't waste my time with walk-ons. Everyone knows that until it's earned.
Preseason NFL is in full swing. We got Hoosiers doing big things over the weekend. Miles Price caught a touchdown. Keyshawn Williams caught a sick touchdown. If you weren't able to see that one, definitely go check that out. And CJ West was doing CJ West things, just, being a menace in the run game. It's like we talked a lot about the defensive line upgrades, and we feel like we did get better on the defensive line. But the one area where it'll be interesting to see how Indiana does counter is CJ West was an absolute run stuffer, just ate up gaps and just obliterated blockers in the middle of that defense. They got more athletic at the defensive tackle spot, and they also got, I don't know if I would say a lot bigger, but definitely a little bit more.
West is pretty big. They don't have a guy like him this year.
No, but I'm saying like Elijah Hardy's bigger than Jalen Walker. So like the linebackers are a little bit more equipped to run fit versus like be athletic and get all over the field, which is what Walker is doing. So I feel like they're in a really good spot to kind of counteract some of that. But man, West looks great.
Yeah, I mean, we feel good about every position group, obviously, going into the season. But, interior D-line is probably the biggest question mark on paper. But, we've talked about it over and over again. There's just so much buzz about that group coming out of camp and coming out of spring ball, coming out of the scrimmages, where it's like it really just puts your mind at ease. And it's so funny to see, I always make this joke about talent evaluation where it's like, oh, wow, the contributors on the playoff team are now contributing in the NFL. It's real funny how that works sometimes. And shout out Key and shout out Miles Price for making plays and hopefully find themselves on a roster. They're very talented kids. So with that can fill multiple roles. They can both punt return and kick return and do a whole lot of things and play gunner if needed too. Wish them the best.
We got the AP poll this week off the back of the coaches poll last week. I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about the AP poll. Indiana was 20. Honestly, who cares? I do kind of like the fact that Illinois was 12 and they're 8 spots ahead of Indiana, and they'll get a really good opportunity to have a resume building win early in the season in a game where I think if people were actually looking at it objectively, they would come away with a much different conclusion to who would be favored or who should be favored going into that game. But what were your thoughts when you saw the AP poll?
Not as that was pretty low, honestly, just from what I'm seeing. Yeah, a little disappointing, but it is what it is. It's all going to be decided inside the hashes, anyways. So, like Signetti says, basically feel his sentiment. If anything, it's good for the team. They're not ranked top 10. I think that'd be a much different feel going into the season than being ranked 20. I think there's a lot of perks to it, and hopefully they take advantage to it. Obviously, they're not sneaking up on anyone, but I think they're sneaking up on people in the sense where they're not the 20th best team. I think they're a lot higher than that. I think they're closer to top 10 than top 20. Yeah, I digress.
Well, I was going to say,
I'm the guy with the Indiana show, so obviously I'm going to be upset with where we're ranked, So,
I was going to say there was
a lot with a little bit of bias on this one.
There was a lot of, Indiana snuck up on people last year, and they're not going to be able to sneak up on people this year. Like, if that's an excuse for losing a football game that you didn't take your opponent seriously, especially as the season went on and you're watching film and seeing what these guys are doing on the field, like you should be fired as a coaching staff.
That's a great point.
Like, that is not an excuse. That is an awful
It's
excuse.
actually not a real thing.
It's
another
not.
thing about that.
I was like, I had somebody. Well, I was going to say, I had somebody try and tell me that like Indiana's offense was they ran this mystical offense that nobody had ever seen before, and it was impossible to game plan for. It's like this staff has been together for 10 years. 10 years, the same staff. Like, how much do you think they actually changed the offense year to year where you can't go back and find film? Like, dude, me and you watched 3 JMU games. So, like, this is exactly how the offense is going to run. And, oh, my God, like, shocker. Like, it ran the exact same way. Like, this idea that you
threw it more.
Idea that you couldn't scout this team is beyond idiotic. It's lazy, and it proves these people don't know what they're talking about. There's like, oh, Indiana brand brain, like they're not going to be that good. Like they snuck up on people. It's like, yeah, week 10 they snuck up on a Big 10 team. Give me a break.
Yeah, no, it's a ridiculous way of thinking, and yeah, they're going to continue to be good. I mean, this offense isn't like. It's going to be more expanded this year than it was last year, the offense, with Mendoza at the helm, and them going to be able to roll out more, and, he's going to be healthy, knock on wood. But, looking at the AP poll, we're just still pretending A&M is going to be good, which is cool with me, I guess. I mean, I was actually looking at them again today, and they look pretty good on paper.
Listen, on paper, like all these, like if you want to go by recruiting rankings and tradition and like recent history, like, all these teams look great.
Yeah, I'm pretty high. Like, there's just no way we're better than SMU. We're better than Kansas State. Like, obviously, any of these SEC teams would be a dogfight, but I mean, I just look at all these other, Kansas State, SMU, mostly any ACC school. It's just, man. Like Arizona State at 11, like that's just not going to last. There's just no way.
I like Arizona State. I actually I'm a believer. I'm a believer.
But Fatboy 44 said RJ Young ranked us 11. His rankings are weird. I'm very complimented with the 11, but his rankings are actually based on like most likely to win the national championship. So being at 11, like very realistic in my mind. Very good spot to be at, and couldn't agree more with that one. And yeah, I need Nick's telling me to get it together. Yeah, we are the best team in the country. I think we're top 10. Like I said, it's just funny to see these AP polls. And Mark Rogers actually made a really good point today. He said 9 or 10 of the preseason ranked teams last year finished unranked. So, yeah, most of these teams won't finish in the poll anyway. So.
I was going to say the only other thing I'll mention it was a very expected response from ESPN and the SEC, essentially celebrating the poll
Yeah.
claiming that the poll meant there's no bias when it's like everyone's stating that the bias creates the poll. It's just like it's to victory lap preseason standings, knowing that like 70% of the teams in your conference were worse than projected last year is a crazy way to go about your business. But
they
keep
can
doing them.
They can keep living in La La Land. Like over in the South, that's all they have over there. Like us in the Big Ten, we got New York, we got Chicago, we got big cities, we got LA, we got palm trees, we got beaches, we got lake houses. All right, we got the Big Apple. We got a lot more than they do, so if their conference isn't as good as ours, what do they have? They probably have high school football. That's it. And everyone's got high school football, so it's I don't feel bad about it, but that is why they are reacting, because they don't have anything else going for them. I digress before I go on.
That is the truth. I want to go back to Fat Boy also said, I need most of the Indiana podcasters to do one show before the season starts, similar to that one SEC show where they all got mad at Sig.
Who are we going to get mad at on our show? Kirk Herbstreit.
I don't know.
That's my
I don't want to be mad at Kirk Herbstreit.
He started off like we get mad at him first before he, we bring the fight to him this time.
I feel like it would just be like we just like it would be a bunch of us in the same. We would just be all saying the same thing, like we're being overrated and all that good stuff, or underrated and overlooked and all that good stuff. But I'm open to it. It would be pretty funny to parody that for sure. It would be cool if we all wore like the same shirt or something like.
Yeah, I think it would be. But when it comes to the AP pool, I actually do. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm right. In terms of like last year, the final poll of last year should be the preseason poll for the next year. Just continue it, and then just prove it.
It makes the most sense.
That makes by far the most sense of anything, as opposed to just looking at Phil Steele and magazines and trying to figure out who's going to be good. There's more to it than that. I do think if I were to give some sleepers this year, I do think LSU and Oklahoma are going to be very good this year. If Mateer's eligible, that is. But yeah, very high on those teams, and I think it's the first time I've shared that on the pod. I just wanted to get that out there.
Well, your Mateer eligibility take, or
no, just like I think Oklahoma is going to be good, and LSU, and I think they're going to be. That could be my SEC championship game. Like that's how good I think those teams are.
Yeah, they have older, established quarterbacks. They have good, be good defenses, really good run games, talent on the outside. Like, yeah, hypothetically, all these teams should be good. That's just like that's the thing. And like all of my arguments with these people, like I'm not insulting their teams. I'm simply telling them Indiana is good, and they can't handle it. They literally can't handle it.
My team is just as good as your team. What? Are you insane?
Your team is bad. It's like, actually, I said the opposite, but you just can't read. But it's okay. South Carolina signed, I think it was a 3 or 5 year deal to expand like the naming rights on their stadium. But that prompted me to tweet out. Obviously, this is something me and you have been talking about on this show on and off for a couple months. Eventually, there's going to be a field sponsor at Memorial Stadium. So I threw out a couple suggestions. Unanimously railroaded in the replies about Kroger Field. Hand up. I didn't realize Kentucky. I don't watch any Kentucky football. I didn't know Kentucky had Kroger Field. So
they already have it.
Yeah, Kroger Field at whatever Kentucky's stadium is called. So obviously Kroger's out. But I wrote down some of my favorites.
Or we take Kroger from Kentucky. How about that? I don't know if that's like a win, but
I mean, my counter all day, my counter was going to be like, it's literally Memorial Stadium. Like, how many Memorial Stadiums are there? Like, there's 4 or 5 Memorial Stadiums. There's multiple assembly halls. Like
that, honestly,
I
think there's 3 in the conference.
We got our friend Sam Dykema dropped ZNC Field.
That's like, yeah, I endorse that 100%, 1000% actually.
There was some Simon Scott. There was some Cuban, some Knicks.
That would be cool. The Shark Tank. We just call it the Shark Tank. Oh,
upstairs field. IU Health or IU Credit Union.
Health works. I think we've had Health before.
Is it the Cook Company or Cook in what the I'm messing this up, but it's a really well known, very powerful, very wealthy company located in Indiana. Did I mention Hinkles?
No, I like Shalubi's. It's one of my favorites.
Shalubi's was on there.
I like Shalubi's Field.
Did you
I
see
like
B-Town Moose tweet out the Oppenheimer like "What have I done?" gif? Oh, so good,
Yeah,
so
that's
good. Shout out
funny.
to the Moose. Pizza X Field,
Not bad.
Menards,
Buffalo's.
Mother Bears.
What are we doing? Buffalo's.
Buffalo's wasn't. I didn't get Buffalo's, but I'm with it. Like I'm just saying. So
Yeah.
some things to look out for.
Oh yeah. Maybe that's what the lock means for the Big Ten. Maybe they're just announcing what the sponsor is for Indiana's field.
It's gonna be Mike. It's gonna be Mike Kadick and Barstool.
I'm gonna be thinking about this lock all night.
It's gonna be Mike Kadick and Barstool sponsoring the field. This guy Mike Kadick has been on.
Are we on the Mike Kadick topic now?
We're on the Mike Kadick. He has been. For anybody who doesn't know, I grew up basically on the Jersey Shore, so that whole area that Kadick has been parading around, I'm pretty familiar with. Like, to unleash a guy like that on a bar scene like that is just literally a match made in heaven. I'm glad, so happy for the guy that he found his calling and what he's doing, and I could not be more ecstatic with the Mike Kadick content we've been getting. The dude's been crushing it.
Yeah, no, he's been an absolute content machine, and I think the biggest takeaway, like from a ball well, I'll do the ball standpoint last. From a marketing standpoint, Kadick is turning into an absolute fantastic ambassador for I guess, just the overall brand of Indiana. I'm not going to call him an ambassador because I don't know if a former player just going out and drinking and is the best like role model for like what our program's all about. But it brings a lot of good, I guess, and like good publicity to Indiana football. Like, hey, we like to have fun here. Never lost a tailgate mentality, which we will always have no matter how many wins we get, which will still be a lot this year. Don't worry. And but from a ball standpoint, I couldn't feel more confident that Pat Coogan is an upgrade from a ball standpoint. So,
we joked about it last week with the Edward Catone edit.
Yeah, he could be at NFL training camp right now, but he's not. And that was the funniest part about that whole thing, is that literally his class is literally trying to make a roster spot in the league, and he could give less of a fuck about it.
He does not care. You have fan bases like, please pick this guy up. Like, they don't even know he played center at Indiana last year. They're like, go get this guy. Yeah, I think he's some dude on the street.
This guy must have played D1 football or something. Holy crap, he's massive.
No, he's doing his thing, and I'm pumped for Kadick. D Kelly 28 the chat says, I'm from, is it Prairie du Chien? Prairie du Chien? If anybody doesn't know, du Chien,
dog in French, I believe.
Correct me. That is the hometown of Blake Thierry. He says his college alma mater doesn't have football, so since Thierry's at Indiana, he's rooting for the Hoosiers, especially when they play Wisconsin. Well, shout out to D Kelly. We love that. Sheen, Prairie du Chien,
spelled like chien, the dog in French. But yeah, D Kelly couldn't have picked a better time to join Indiana fandom right now.
Any fan of Blake Thierry's a friend of ours. Like that is.
I'll take a non-alum fan. Hell yeah, that means we're making 100% some progress here. We're turning into Notre Dame before you know it. There's gonna be
Blake Thierry has that type of
Notre Dame basketball fans and Indiana football fans before you know it.
Hopefully not.
That's a crazy thing to say.
That is a crazy thing to say. Did you want to talk? Actually, no. We'll hold that till the end. I want to talk
Puerto Rico.
Michael Niziolic reported today that Lewis Moore got like a sped up trial. He's literally going to trial tomorrow, August 13th at 2 p.m. So you would assume we're going to get a decision on whether or not Lewis Moore is eligible. If you're not caught up to speed on the Lewis Moore conversation, I think he has like 5.5 years or something is his window, but he redshirted his freshman year and also had the COVID year, so he should have eligibility left. So it'll be interesting to see what the NCAA does. It's the NCAA. But we're hoping for good news from Lewis Moore. I was way more confident at the beginning of the week than I was after listening to Signetti speak. But after perusing Twitter and getting the lay of the land, I don't see why he wouldn't be ruled eligible. It wouldn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of ineptitude out there. Like if Diego Pavia is playing ball, he should be playing ball just because they entered Division One. Because the rule is if you play JUCO, none of the years count, even if you redshirted. He entered the same year into the D1 level as Diego Pavia. So if he's able to play, Louis Moore should be able to play as well. We'll see. We'll see if they make the right decision. If not, Louis is the number 7 in your program, the projected starter at safety to go alongside Amari Farrell. If not, it looks like Byron Baldwin's time to shine is really what it feels like, and which is both exciting because if Louis does play, Byron's going to play as well. But it'd be great to have that kind of veteran presence. He's a great open field tackler at the free safety spot because Amari's going to be more inside, and he's going to be our ball hawk back there, a lot like Sean Asbury last year. And yeah, he's great at being the last line of defense tackle wise, and he's great. He's improved over his career as a cover guy. So yeah, super excited for him. And yeah, and also the chemistry with him and Amari Farrell as well, because they've been good friends, like beyond just teammates for a long time, with Louis being a Tom Allen guy as well. Yeah, just hope he's on the field this year. I think it'd be great for Amari Farrell and just the defense as a whole to have him there.
Agreed. We got a Cash Herrera interview.
No way.
It was like a short, like San Diego prep style. A lot of it was about high school football, but I did catch a little bit of the Signetti stuff. Where are my notes here?
Get it together.
I know, too many notes.
I'm just it back because I got some earlier from the peanut gallery.
Basically, they asked Cash why he ended up choosing Indiana, because he was obviously committed to Iowa. He said the 2024 season really opened his eyes. Talked about Signetti's no BS attitude. And then he talked about the competition in the quarterback room will ultimately be a good thing for him, among other things. So super excited to watch Cash ball out. He plays at a school that has produced, I think, 4 or 5 straight Division I quarterbacks. So they know how to develop specifically that position. So very excited to watch him play this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm excited to see him play, but more excited to watch the Hoosiers, to be honest.
I mean, obviously, that's how.
I mean, I hope he has a great year. I hope he puts up, 50 tuds and like a 4 pick, because he's slinging it out there. I don't need a perfect, touchdown interception ratio from the kid. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm going to look at his schedule later because I'm sure he's playing some high schools I know. Might be playing like some Torrey Pines, playing some St. Augustine, maybe. I don't know. I'm curious. What high school does he play for? I should know this.
Bishop something. The Bishop something.
Let's go. I'm going to go Cook real quick.
It's okay. I want to shout out the Indiana University students because Jesus Christ, the dog is attacking the door right now. Deal with that 1 second. Indiana sold out all their student tickets. You can't get a student season ticket anymore through the university. So kind of react to that, Brad. I'm going to go deal with the dog real quick.
Oh, that's a great spot to be at. It might even turn into a situation to where, when you were a student, you had to go get you're basically put on a wait list. You can get tickets to every single basketball game. It might have to be the same type of situation with football moving forward, just because of all the buzz that we're having. And, I've had the pleasure of being able to speak to some current IU students over the summer. And I mean, the buzz is palpable from everyone I've talked to. And I mean, they're so excited, and as they should be. It's a great time. Going to college and having a ranked football team is probably just the dream. And, for them to be able to get that for 4 years and beyond is, super excited for those kids. And they should be taking advantage of it, and they should be selling it out.
I agree. That would be pretty wild because obviously, as you know, and as any Indiana alumni knows, like the only way to get basketball tickets is to get football tickets, or that was the way it was forever. And now we're seeing a complete changing of that vibe, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Harmon says he spent time in Ocean Grove and Asbury. Didn't know I was from NJ. Oh, dude, yeah, I grew up literally 10 minutes from Asbury, if you know Ocean Township. So I spent a lot of time in Asbury. I'll actually be in Asbury this weekend at some point, so I'm pumped about that.
LA has better
Very
hiking
pumped
anyways,
about
though.
that.
I'm surprised they had mountains in New Jersey. Hiking? You serious?
Not by the beach, but like if you go like North Jersey or West Jersey or there's mountains.
Interesting.
New Jersey's a hidden gem. Like
check
it's
it out.
a
I'll judge
great
those
place to grow
mountains.
up, great bar scenes and all that good stuff. And yeah, New Jersey's great. I got no.
We'll see if there's mountains.
22 years of my life. I love it over there.
Armin, just so you know, I'm West Coast, he's East Coast, just so we're all clear.
And we merged in the middle, and that's how you get a Hoosier.
That's how you got, little coast bred, a little Midwest fed action, right? At least for me, I'm still out here.
I went back and was able to catch Signetti and Nicole Auerbach sit down. I didn't take notes on the whole thing, but I did write down one of the quotes. She asked Sig how he felt about playing Brett Bielema, and he was like, I don't know. I haven't played him yet. I don't know. I haven't played the guy yet. What do you want from me?
Yeah, no, that's such a fair answer, honestly. But that game is going to be electric. I think we had a comment in the last episode about how that's just going to be, first. I mean, we all watched the Shane Beamer Bielema showdown last year, and if it's anything like that, I mean, Signetti's going to be. I mean, they're both absolute pills when it comes to coaching and just like the little things they do in terms of the game management. And I feel like I'm talking to air here because Keezer's dealing with the dogs, but I'm just filling in time here and.
I'm with you. We did
that matchup. They're kind of the same type of coach, like just absolute pills. Just like they do it by the book, but they can rub people the wrong way because they're a little, too by the book. If you watched any of that Brett Bielema action in Illinois, South Carolina last year,
they hunt for competitive advantages. It's frustrating when you're playing against them, but completely understandable. And especially for somebody like Bielema, where it's like, even if he feels like he's just slightly outgunned, he's going to try and gain an advantage any way he can. They literally created a rule for the guy. So super excited for that one. But obviously in the most Signetti way possible. It's like, how do you want me to answer that question? Like, I haven't played the guy yet.
Classic. That's a classic Signetti response too. You know who else created a rule change too? Ocean Township's own Kenny Pickett. There you go.
Big slide. Second Kenny Pickett mention of the podcast. We love that.
Wow.
We got a bunch of recognition for Indiana Hoosiers. Mendoza is up for the Maxwell and the David O'Brien preseason awards.
Mm-hmm.
The Bednarik Award, the 3 All-Americans are up for that. That would be Pons, Kamara, Fisher. And the Lombardi Award, Fisher and Kamara up for that as well.
Awesome. As they should be. Great to hear that they're at least getting the recognition for the year. Bednarik, that one is best defensive player in the country, correct? And then O'Brien and Manning and all those ones. There's so many different quarterback awards now these days. There's like 5 of them. So, the Golden Arm Award, and then as well as Davey O'Brien, I would say, are 2 of the more prestigious ones besides Heisman and is it still Maxwell? Maxwell's around. That one's pretty prestigious, but
Maxwell's Mendoza's up for it. I don't write the Kenny Pickett mentions into the show, but I'll take them as they come.
I don't write anything into the show. It just happens. The show just happens. I show up here and Keezer has some notes and he talks to me and I respond. That's this whole thing.
He's not in the notes, but when he comes up,
I don't have the notes for this show at all. I have nothing here. I have my depth chart and I have my Phil Steele book. That's all I got.
I want to get into the press conferences for this week, and then we'll kind of end the show around the Big Ten Network special.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. And then we'll talk about Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Yes, we'll also talk about Puerto Rico.
But we need the last. We lied. We're going to talk about basketball before the season start. I think what happened in Puerto Rico is worth talking about. So we're going to talk about it a little bit later.
Let's talk about Roman Hemby. We got a Roman Hemby press conference. That was on Friday before the scrimmage. They asked Roman about the differences between Signetti's practices versus Maryland's practices.
Oh
He said
man,
they're really different. He
that
said
they
they
are.
spend the right amount of time on the field, not too much. It really is kind of crazy to listen to all these dudes speak about the way Signetti practices, especially the guys who transfer into the program, because he puts an emphasis on keeping the guys fresh. Like, it's not an accident they're able to stay really healthy, and it's because he's not killing them every day. Whereas like you think about what, like, all the memes of like what it means to be a college football player, especially during fall camp, and all the workouts and the grind and how hard it is and how much they grind the bodies down. It's like, that's just not what happens at Indiana. He keeps those dudes fresh and they work hard.
Yeah, he lets strength and conditioning handle the killing in terms of the body and recovery and stuff like that, and keeps practices as they should be, just about game level, nothing past that, and if not lower. So yeah, it's smart way to go about it.
Yep. They have the belief that thudding is a form of tackling. And if you can be an effective thud team, you can be an effective tackle team. And so it doesn't really, in their minds, it doesn't negatively affect them that they don't, quote unquote, hit or go full pads all the time. They're still getting their work in.
I mean, they were the most physical team in the conference last year. Maybe a little outman talent wise, but I mean, you just watch all the clips. I mean, it's just, you can make a 5-minute, 10-minute video of just bone crushing hits delivered by Indiana players last year. And I mean, they've posted them. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
They asked Roman what he's learned from Kalen Black. He said a lot, talked about his process, kind of how he does things, the way he is in the weight room, and how meticulous he is about his work. And just the type of leader it looks like Kalen Black is from the outside is the type of person it seems like he rubs off on all the guys that way. And everybody says the same thing about the dude. Is he somebody you want to follow?
Yeah. I've said it before, when it comes to Kalen Black, my pick still stands for who's walking out for coin tosses. It's going to be Mendoza, Coogan, Kalen Black, and Aiden Fisher. That's who it's going to be. Maybe throw Kamara out there for some scare factor. That's about it.
They asked him what it's like playing for Coach Ellison. He said it's a blessing. Said Justice is like a big brother. Spends a lot of extra time with the guys, but he's really hard on the guys as well. It's nice to have somebody out there who's like literally just did it and be able to relate to the guys on that level, but also, like he said, him and Coach Miller are like attached by the hip. They're never in different spots. They're always together. So it's like he said, Juice can be a hell of a running back coach one day. And obviously I believe that.
I mean, I totally believe that, because one thing Justice Ellison did really well, he wasn't going to burn you. And honestly, like, he wasn't like he was a bruising back for sure, but it wasn't like that's like the biggest thing about him. What he was really good at was finding the hole. Right. And in this offense, obviously it's something that's overlooked so much. We talk about Trent Richardson's probably one of the biggest examples of that, where, he's at this Bama and that O-line's overpowering everyone. And he just gets the Red Sea every play, and then gets to the NFL. It's like, oh shit, there's not a hole every play.
All the Colts fans are logging off.
Well, he affected the Raiders first, my area.
That's true.
And Justice Ellison being able to relay those little details of each play, and kind of
he's a Brown,
how he would think about it, how he would think about the run, where he anticipates the hole is going to be. I mean, Lawton and Ellison, none of them are in training camp right now, and they were one of the most productive duos in the country last year, and they don't, in that sense, like, they don't nearly have the talent of a Hemby, BB, and Kalen Black group, so you just put all that together and still have the knowledge that Justice Ellison's able to bestow on that room. It is going to, yeah, no, I've been doing good on the words. I use moot point.
Hello word.
But it's just gonna matriculate all the way down.
Oh my God, this guy's an encyclopedia.
And it will galvanize the offense in a way where it's going to be able to continue clicking this year, just like it was last year, and probably to another level. Anticipating Mendoza's play is where we think it's going to be.
They asked Hemby about his pass catching ability. He said he took note of it as a young guy. He played the athlete position in high school. It was just about being a complete back, anything to get another touch. And it's funny. It made me think about, I had a high school basketball coach, or not a high school, 7th grade basketball coach, who said when he played pickup, he never set a screen hoping the guy with the ball would score. He always set a screen selfishly to get a pass.
Yeah, to roll, obviously.
Yeah. No. So it's like, but it's like you want your scorer to think that way. Like I want my home run hitting running back to be like, yeah, I'll catch the ball, so I have it in my hands now. Like I just want the ball. Give me the ball.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see like a lot more action of like I disagree. I don't think we're gonna have any running backs line up out wide. I think that's not really something we do. We have too good of receivers to do that anyways. Catching out of the backfield was something that was missing a little bit. It would happen at times, but it was something that really didn't happen too often. They didn't really need to be honest. The offense was still able to hum, but that's just another dimension of this offense, including Mendoza's mobility, that's really gonna put these defenses in a pretzel, and it seems like they already are in a pretzel. And to add those added dimensions where it's very RPO based offense, it's gonna be electric if they're able to click on all cylinders like last year.
They asked Hemby about how his Big Ten experience affects the room. He said it's super helpful. He's somebody those guys can lean on. I mean, obviously, Kalon was there last year, but he didn't have a ton of touches dealing with injuries. And behind those two guys, Lee Beebe obviously was not there last year, so that's completely new for him. Kobe Martin, a young guy, obviously in the room last year, but still learning. So to have somebody with the experience, especially in the conference, as Hemby, so insanely valuable. And like another guy like Justice Ellison, who can be a somebody for those young guys to lean on, like somebody for a Sean Cuono to be able to ask questions to and learn from, and that's invaluable.
100%. That whole room, and Van Horst is there too. We don't talk about Van Horst enough. You know,
Signetti talked about Van Horst.
He's gonna be fair catching kick returns this year. It's gonna be awesome. Great to see.
Sig talked about Van Horst today.
Yeah. I would love to hear about
Hemby's
that.
presser was from Friday. Scrimmage was Saturday. So they asked him about the first scrimmage preview. He said it's about stacking days. It'll be a culmination of the work they've put in as an offense. Yeah. He was quoting you, actually. He said Brad Loomis actually says this all the time. Here's why I popped for it. I was, oh my God.
He watches the show.
But he said it won't be perfect. And obviously, it wasn't perfect, but also there's a lot of good stuff going on. We'll get to it in a little bit. They asked him after 6 months how he kind of meshing with Bloomington. He said the community here is more welcoming. It's, again, another story, being an East Coast kid. One of the first schools that the first school I toured was Maryland. And so I completely understand what Roman Hemby is talking about when he talks about the differences between the two campuses. Like if you've been to Maryland, like it's a little bit eerie. It's a little bit like it looks a little bit run down, and it's more of a city, and it's just.
I thought it was the spring break capital of the Northeast.
Most ridiculous comment I've ever heard in my entire life. I've never heard anybody spring break there. Versus like you go to Bloomington, and like one of the things that really dragged or pulled me towards Indiana was how beautiful the campus is, and it's just completely night and day. And the way the town interacts with the school, and it's just you don't have that in Maryland. Like it's a completely different vibe. It's culture shock in the best way possible for somebody who just loves football. I can't imagine how much fun Roman Hemby is having right now, just like being on a team that only cares about football and the town is all into it. He's in the perfect spot. He's literally in the perfect spot.
It's a great play. One thing it just popped in my head. It wasn't necessarily like about Roman Hemby, but like another reason to just be at Indiana, like you just care about football, and then like you go out to eat at like one of the best collection of restaurants in the country, possibly, unless you're Columbia in New York City, like some of the best collection of restaurants in any college town in America. So just an absolute, just great time in Indiana. I hope the boys aren't going to upstairs right now. I hope that, doesn't happen.
Well, if they're just getting food, it's okay.
Yeah, but yeah,
food, the upstairs pub is
Buffalo Louie's, go to Doe, go to Malibu. I don't care.
This is an upstairs pub show. I just want to put that out.
Oh, it is an upstairs pub show, but I think us and upstairs would be in alignment to say we don't necessarily want players there in season, right?
I'm with you.
I think they would have to agree. Obviously, it's money and publicity for them, but we got to think big picture here, guys. We got to think bigger. We got to think bigger, all right? The money will come, all right? If we win football games, trust me.
Fat Boy says,
"Can we let games? The money will be made up for it than the one time, Roman Hemby showed up to upstairs. I promise." I promise.
Roman Hemby's not going upstairs. I can promise you that.
Good.
Fat Boy says, "Can we let Van Horst return kicks? It's like his 7th year in college." I'd like to see him take one out. I don't know if he took one out last year.
Oh, he took 5 out last year. Let me double check that.
I was gonna say I was gonna pull that number off the
5
dome.
out last year. So I'm gonna set the over under at 4.5. No, 5.5.
I think they let him try and hit a home run.
I think we're gonna get an over this year for his.
I'm with you. I'm taking the over. I'm gonna write
the over as well. I think he's gonna go over 5.5. I think he's gonna have more than last year. Fingers crossed. But you know who's not gonna be returning a lot of kicks? Our opponent, because Frankie is gonna be booming those into the stands in the back through the back of the end zone.
Yeah, Sig talked about all the specialists. He was could not contain himself.
That's literally why we brought that kid in, is to boot the ball out of the end zone. He had like a 85% touchback rate last year.
I think it was 80. They asked Hemby about Kobe Martin, said he's improving a lot. He's got a willingness to learn. He's got really high upside. Kobe Martin's a guy who they really like in this room. Everybody speaks really highly of him. I know that's a theme of like most guys on the team is like but it's just
they're all the same type of recruits, you know?
Yeah, that you don't like. These are things that don't like, nobody's holding a gun up to these guys, like forcing them to say nice things about the guys in the room. Like if there was nothing to say, nothing would be said. So the fact that these things keep coming up over and over again is, again, green flags for the program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then obviously this was the quote that was going around last week from Hemby's presser. They asked him about the wide receiver that stands out. He said, "All the young guys are doing really well, but LeBron Bond is somebody that's been really standing out." He said, then obviously Waffle House or Surratt, Coop, just those guys with their approach. Other people, he said other people like kind of felt the way of like, we want to be great, and these guys actually live it, and it's palpable.
Hell yeah. I mean, LeBron was on a top 25 impact Big Ten freshman list today, from what I saw.
I'll say it again. Michigan tried to come in late on LeBron Bond and got absolutely stiff-armed.
Like a Heisman stiff arm?
Oh, yeah. Like Signetti laughed and then just like turned on. Like it was like, you know, the scene from Fat Albert when he's racing the guy and he's like doing this and he's moving really fast. He just turns and looks and then like zooms past him.
No, I don't. But that's a good description.
Somebody in the chat, please. Somebody in the chat, please tell me you got that reference. I need that to land.
I don't remember.
That's what that was like. Unbelievable movie. We got Kalen. We got Kalen Black to the podium. The first question was asking him about being on the Freaks list. He said he started lifting in high school, credited Coach Owings, and said, you know, he's come a long way, put in a lot of hard work, and the recognition was really cool.
Good for him.
But he is a freak. Like 500-pound squat, like benching crazy, like 40-inch vertical. Like
he's
this dude's
built to lift. I mean, he's a little muscle hamster. He's a little Doug Martin type. Yeah.
Well, he's my height, but he's 205, 210, just rock solid. The dude's an animal. He's an animal.
Freak.
I could imagine trying to tackle that guy. They asked him what his experience has been like with the transfers. He said he's just being himself. He said Sig has a system in place. The system works. Everybody knows that he didn't say this, but he said like basically if you just like follow what Signetti says and you he didn't say fall in line, but just like if you do what you're told and do the process the right way and all that good stuff, like you're gonna find success. Like it's proven. Like these processes work, and so it's just about buying in and getting everybody to be on the same page. And obviously, Black's the guy to do that.
Hell yeah. It's the system. The mother effing program, as Pat Coogan said on his mic'd up. I love that. I love that. That was my favorite thing to happen all off season was Pat Coogan mic'd up. He's like, they're just done with their stretching and they're about to go to individual. And you just yells out, "Whoa, the motherfucking program." That's when you know that, you know, like you said, there's no gun to his head. You know, that's just an authentic reaction. Like he is excited to do the process because he knows the process works and he's seen himself improve. He's seen the team improve. He knows what they did last year. I mean, there's just guys buying in, you know?
I do know. I do know. Yeah, PK's right. Baldwin was also on that impact freshman list.
Yes.
Kalon was asked about Justice the player versus Justice the coach. He says he feels like Justice is still a player, but he gets on the guys really hard. He's got a bright future as a coach. Imagine like being Kalon Black, who like was literally teammates doing the work, going through the
I'd be
drills
older
with
than Justice Ellison too.
like literally doing the like as a peer, like that's your and like probably like having that type of relationship as like a teammate, and now not even 6 months later, that's your coach, and you have a much different relationship with it. But that's got to be also really cool in that they have that chemistry built in already.
Well, I feel like it allows Justice to be more comfortable getting on guys because he knows Kalon Black and he knows he wants that, right? So I think it just makes it easier for Justice to acclimate as a coach, you know, and just find his footing in terms of how he likes to coach, which seems like he's very Signetti-esque and he likes to get in on people, or more Will. I just picture like Will Muschamp and Nick Saban. Everyone knows that video back at LSU. Like that's gonna be Justice and John Miller. If like someone fumbles, that'd be hilarious. Even though I don't think we're gonna fumble a whole lot this year.
This might have been my favorite answer of actually no, second favorite answer of any of the pressers, but Ro Hardy had my favorite answer. But they asked Kalon if he was ready to go, and he said he's just focused on being humble.
That's exciting to hear because he's obviously assuming that they're gonna be really good this year. So he's just like, we just gotta stay, no matter what happens, we just gotta stay humble.
I think that's really important.
Even after we beat Penn State and we're undefeated, number 2 in the country, we just gotta stay humble. Love it.
Never too high, never too low. I think that's something us as fans probably need to keep in mind as we approach the season is like, this team's going to be good and we expect them to be good. So we can't be that surprised when they are good.
I challenge the fans to keep the mentality of the team throughout the year. It's fun,
Let's celebrate the wins more.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, celebrate the wins because we are fans at the end of the day, but like, it's fun. It's fun bantering with all these other schools, and I know we haven't really had this opportunity to do it before, but at the same time, it is kind of cool to be humble and just kind of appreciate greatness in front of you and really just stick with it, right? And just kind of have that same mindset, not get up or too low about anything. Just trust that the motherfucking program is gonna keep chugging along.
They asked Kalon about Mikhail Kamara. He kind of lit up a little bit. He called him ferocious. Said he's very Von Miller, Khalil Mack-esque.
Who?
Mikhail Kamara.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could have guessed that, but
ferocious.
He's scary. I've been listening to a lot of Korn lately. And Korn reminds me of Mikhail Kamara because Korn, they have these guitarists, right? And they have the long dreads and they're real scary looking. I saw them at Lala recently, so I've been thinking about them a lot. How spooky they were. And I'm like, that's literally like Mikhail Kamara would fit right in. I'm sure he doesn't listen to that music, but he would fit right into that band. He really would. Just a scary, spooky guy. Period.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
They asked Kalon what his expectations were for the first scrimmage. He said it's all about development and then seeing what you're made of. Obviously, it's the first time they're going to go like 100% full speed in the fall. And so it's just about getting out there and playing football.
And that's what they do really well. So it already happened, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it.
We didn't get much from the scrimmage, but we did get a Signetti presser. So obviously,
I did see a back shoulder throw to Nowakowski in the back of the end zones. That's all I saw. And I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be sick. Nowakowski's doing that shit. Like holy smokes.
They asked Kalon about Mendoza. He said he's got his head on straight. He's a great guy. He's got a laser of an arm and he's focused. But he just said he's a good dude, good kid, hell of a football player. Check.
Just continuing. Green flags. Yep. Keep going.
On Kobe Martin, he said he gets lots of extra work in. He's made big strides. You could tell he wants it. He said he wants to be good, and you can tell. So that's really cool.
I'm just shocked at Abel. Abel just said 425 hours and 25 minutes till kickoff. That's insane that we're sub 500 hours. That's insane to me. That is
crazy.
that's getting me hyped up. That's
Well, they asked Kalen 3 weeks till game day. What's the message? He said, well, then I wrote down like Signetti because he basically just like verbatim the spiel: never get too high, never get too low, humble and hungry. So, like it's the same exact message. Like it was almost like listening to a mini Signetti give a press conference in a way, which like makes sense because he's been with Signetti for like 6-7 years. So that
is Kalon Black the actual coach incumbent to Signetti? Is it actually just Kalon Black just takes the reins and then he's Brian Haynes and Mike Shanahan's boss because they're locked into, $5 million per year contracts to stay at Indiana and be the coordinators? Is that what it's going to be?
No self-imposed
I like to
limitations.
play that imagination game sometime. That won't happen, but he can make a great coach one day. Just having that Signetti kind of tutelage to him.
They asked him about his time with Signetti, spending so much time with him. He said he's had the same practice style the whole time. He just wants his guys to be available, and he really hasn't changed much since from when he first met him to now. Same guy.
Love that.
And then it was actually Black who said that Justice and Coach Miller are basically the same person, that they're always together. And he said they're always scheming.
They're always scheming. What are they going to put us through today?
What are they?
Because there's so many different running back drills you can do. And yeah, I guess that's kind of funny. That he puts it like that.
All right, let's get to the main event. The Elijah Hardy press conference. The first ever Elijah Hardy press conference.
The big reveal to the nation, to the world. Elijah Hardy.
I want to shout out
21 in your program, the greatest football player of all time. Besides Ed Reed.
I want to shout out Indiana Sports Fanatic for tagging me under the who's the greatest athlete to wear number 21 and say Elijah Hardy. That was absolutely epic and full blown support that, full blown second that one. Yeah, Ro Hardy, greatest ever player to wear 21.
I felt a little left out because I'm kind of been the big Ro Hardy hype guy. I was the first one. I was the first one to call him the greatest football player of all time. So,
you were. I'll give you that.
So I deserve some flowers. I just felt.
Well, this is literally like this is gonna be a treat for you then, Brad. Let's talk Ro Hardy.
I'm so.
They asked him about the first scrimmage again. He echoed what Kalen Black said. It's all about development. They asked him about the lessons he learned from last year. He said it's about when you're jumping in to be ready. It's about staying in the playbook. He said it was kind of like a whirlwind of getting to campus and all that, and just like knowing the playbook and being ready at all times, and regardless of like who's on the field or whatnot, 'cause you never know what's going to happen with injuries and things like that. Next thing you know, you could be playing, so you always got to be ready.
That's that Navy prep school in him.
They asked him about his confidence in the playbook, and his quote was, "Me, Fish, Bones, Haynes got in the playbook this summer. I'm very confident."
You're telling me he wasn't confident last year when he was getting a pick six on every fifth snap he took?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's going to get better. It's insane. That's what about
that was possible, to be honest.
What he learned from watching and playing with Jalen Walker. He talked about his play speed and the way he used his hands, which is a very underrated thing for a linebacker. I heard him talk about his hands a lot, and something I really kind of wasn't expecting, but I've heard Fisher talk about that as well. Asked him about Brian Haynes. He said he's very helpful to have him around, especially him being the linebackers coach and the leader of the defense. So, he's kind of tuned into what the defense is doing. And obviously the linebackers are like the quarterbacks of the defense. And so it helps having the guy running the defense also run that room.
Yeah, and I think it's important because like Elijah Hardy, in terms of his career trajectory, he's wearing that green sticker next year. So him getting in line with all that is going to be huge for Indiana in the future. Because I don't think they're going to just do a 1 year with Jones. I think they'd rather go 2 years with Hardy with the green sticker. So then you can have a little bit of continuity going into 1 year to the next and replacing, number 4. Like that's going to be a tall task.
Yeah, which I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Scary thought. Move on.
They asked him, this is where the thudding equals tackling came up. They asked him about is it an adjustment to have a softer practice style? And he said no. Essentially, if you can be a good thud team, like Coach Haynes says you should be a good tackling team if you're a good thud team. And so it's just about being technical, like being in the right position, making sure you're thudding in the way you would be tackling. And then that can just translate through in the game. You just finish it. Like me and you were talking about 15, 20 minutes ago. Physicality was not an issue for this team. This team can tackle.
Yeah. They hit very hard. And I think part of it comes from the fact they don't get to hit all year until you unleash little, Indiana State on them. Then they're gonna go to pound time. They're gonna bang.
He talked about Fisher, the leader. He said he's great. He's vocal. People gravitate towards him, which obviously everything we've heard about Aiden Fisher backs that up. Talked about his own self-belief. He said he's got a lot of it. Coach Haynes, Signetti trust him, and that's where that or a lot of that comes from. They asked him about his prep year. He said it made him hungry, kind of gave him an edge, gave him a drive. He didn't have all the offers he wanted coming out of high school or going into that or coming out of that prep year, and so you can see obviously the chip on the shoulder he plays with, and like Brian Haynes sniped that dude. Obviously,
love that. That was one of the sickest pickups, and yeah, I will say, as much of a big fan as I am now, I did kind of gloss over him a little bit when we first started this podcast and went through that whole class. And lesson learned. Honestly, we should start with the lowest ranked guys and start backwards when going through our classes moving forward, because clearly it seems like the guys that play the earliest are the lower ranked guys historically so far. Obviously, that's probably going to change. And,
well, it seems like that's who they like. They like him the best to take him over what the consensus ranking says, and so it's like they obviously see something that people were missing. Bro Hardy, perfect example.
Sig has his formula. He does.
Talked about his offseason, talked about getting in the playbook, talked about getting better at recognizing pre-snap indicators, getting faster. Speed was a big one again for him. We talked about speed for pretty much everybody on this team. Everybody on the team wants to get faster.
We all saw the Jeremiah Love run, so yeah, I would say speed is going to be a big thing.
And he said using his hands as well, kind of working on that. This will be your favorite answer, Brad.
Yeah.
They asked him like what does he attribute his knack for the ball to?
Oh.
And he said it's just pre-snap indicators, being a ball player, and being in the playbook.
Being a ball player. How do
you get the ball so much? He's like, I'm just a football player. Like, I don't like, what do you mean? He's like, I watch what happens before the play, and I read the playbook, and I just make the plays. Like, what are you talking about?
It's so easy for me. It's like
literally.
It's like Goodwill Hunting. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry you're too stupid to understand this, and you're fumbling around and fucking it up. It's easy for me.
That was literally the answer. It was
literally. We might start calling him Goodwill Hunting at this point. Might have to.
Good row hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. Good row hunting.
Good row Hardy.
Good row Hardy. Yeah. No, there's something to it.
They're like, how are you around the football this time? Like, I'm just a ball player.
Yeah.
You're just goddamn right you are.
Yeah. Why are you so good at football? Because I just play football. That's what I do.
And then they asked him about Indiana's running backs. He said they're pretty good, versatile, one of the best or one of the strongest backfields in the nation. I would agree.
Yeah.
In between the Roe Hardy and the Signetti pressers, I wrote down officially nervous about Lewis Moore.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, okay.
I'm less nervous now than I was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous just because I know the NCAA can fuck it up sometimes. So
I agree. All right, let's talk about Signetti. Practice 10 was today. Yeah, practice 10 was today because he called it tomorrow, and the press conference was yesterday. If you're getting the dates confused, today's the 12th. Yesterday was the 11th. Tomorrow's the 13th. So you need to know where we're at. He said it's an important week. He said the first scrimmage, like all first scrimmages, too many penalties, too many missed assignments, but the effort and the competition was good. So that's not surprising at all.
Clean it up in film. That's why we do the scrimmage.
They asked him about LeBron Bond. He said he picked up where he left off in the spring. He said football is really important to him. He needs to be a little bit more consistent, but he's in a really good spot to help this football team in the fall. which
Hell yeah.
echoes everything we've been hearing about LeBron Bond.
Great to hear.
Talked about Lewis Moore's waiver. He said Lewis Moore's got his full support. Part of the issue that Lewis Moore has run into is that him and a lot of the guys in his similar situation had a 5.5-year window or whatever it was. Pavia was within his 5-year window. So he couldn't really say much more about that. It's a legal matter. It's ongoing. And obviously we talked about that. That'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, that does make me feel
trial.
a lot more nervous about it. Is that point.
So we'll see. Talked about the running back room and Roman Hemby. Said Hemby's a vet. He's had a solid camp. He needs to improve in his pass protection. Black has had a great camp. Or he said good camp. BB was back yesterday. It was his first practice, which I thought was pretty interesting. He said Van Horst ran well in the scrimmage, pass protected well as well. In 2019, he was a walk-on. 3 snaps into the Virginia Tech game, he due to injuries was on the field. He started 67 games that year, hurt his ankle, and was never kind of able to get back on track. So maybe Van Horst is a guy we see schemed into the offense a little bit more than he was last year, or maybe due to looking good in the scrimmage, maybe we see him get the opportunity to take a few more kicks out. And then he said Kobe Martin is getting better.
Good to hear. Kobe Martin's improving. Nice. Yeah, no block, no rock, Roman Hemby. No block, no rock. We'll give those touches to Kalen Black. No worry. He'll block. Yeah.
They asked him how important Kellen Wyatt was, specifically playing across from Mikal Kamara, and he said he's important, but they need all 11 guys doing their jobs. That's the most important. But specifically on Wyatt, he said he's high effort, high energy, intelligent, versatile. He's had a great camp. He's a big addition. He's really going to help the football team. He spoke glowingly of Wyatt.
I did. And he did. But I've been hype on the Wyatt train for a while. I had him, all the hype was on Stephen Daly because he probably had better numbers coming from the MAC. But Wyatt is a power 4 player, was one of Maryland's best defensive players on their team last year. He's going to be a huge addition to this team. And yeah, the pass rush on this defensive line is going to be insane. And it's really exciting to see that, schematically, we already have a really good run defense. So it's just about really executing on that front. And yeah, I think that is somewhat of a concern, but considering how good we were against the run last year, it's really hard to imagine a drop off really affecting us all that much.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They asked Signetti how Chandler Whitmer is doing. He said in the spring there was a learning curve, but he's doing a great job now. He said all of his experience basically came from the NFL and kind of working with NFL style guys. So kind of adjusting back into the college ranks took a little bit of time, but he said he's doing a great job. He's a film junkie. He's smart. He's got a great demeanor. Obviously somebody Sig enjoys being around. And he's doing a great job coaching the offense. So glowing reviews for Coach Whitmer as well.
Love it. As expected, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear he's looking like that. It's expected at this point, those types of remarks and things like that. So it really just comes down to how is Mendoza going to play on the field? I think that needs to be, that is a question mark. Obviously we feel good about it, but it is a question mark going into the year. Like just how good is Mendoza going to be locked into this offense without Tino, giving them the answers, because Whitmer's figuring out the answers at the same time Mendoza is at times. So, to see how that plays out is probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to see come Old Dominion.
They asked Sig about the wide receiver room as a whole, and he didn't really answer the question. He said they had a good week offensively, but they still made mistakes. He said it partially because the defense was shorthanded. That's when we got the Amari Farrell news. We also got news about Ro Hardy was dealing with a bit of a groin. He missed some time last week. I'm not sure if he played in the scrimmage or not. And D'Angelo Pons tweaked his ankle in around the first few plays of the scrimmage. He was completely fine, held out for precautionary reasons. He was back at practice today. Then he said they have a chance to be really good on offense. They are there's not an area of the team that's in game form yet. They're progressing. The competition, the speed, the tempo has gone up. The execution has gone up. But he said you can't let physical fatigue affect mental fatigue, and basically hammered home the point that the game happens between your ears, and It's all about kind of finding that mental toughness. So that was the wide receiver room from Sig.
Yeah, we got they clearly need to block downfield a little bit more. Yeah. I'm sure that's what he's calling him out
on. They asked Signetti about the specialist. He said it all starts with Mark Langston. Short snap, long snap. He's the best in the country. You mentioned Frankie. He said 80% of his kicks were non-returnable last year. That may have even been a higher number if you have the actual stat. I don't know if Sig pulled the actual number. And he said McCarthy gets the ball off quick with great hang time. And you were talking, I think you said 4 or 5 average punt yards
adding
more.
About 4 average on our punt game this year by bringing in McCarthy, Australian guy, Croatian kicker. I mean, vibes are very high with the specialist this year, which was a big issue last year. If we're going to be honest, like special teams, as sound as they were in some games, Ohio State game, that was a clear flaw in the team. So, hopefully Radicic can get his distance up to kind of encapsulate what could be a very, very top tier Big Ten specialist group. If we have Radicic knocking down 50-yarders, I mean, I can't think of
that would be insane.
There's not going to be so many groups better than that, to be honest, in the Big Ten. So exciting stuff.
They asked him about the tight end room. He said Nowakowski is a lot like Wyatt, smart, hardworking, consistent. You know what you're going to get from the guy day in and day out. I said he's going to be a valuable member of the offense. He said Stays is improving as a blocker. He's got soft hands, big, long body, can get down the field in passing situations. And the goal is to keep Bamba healthy this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great room. Another solid room. When you break down beyond Bamba, 2 freshmen. So, keeping those guys healthy is paramount. But, hearing the good things about Nowakowski, I think is really promising and not really something I was expecting. I was thinking of it more as an H-back, but it sounds like they're really going to get him involved in the pass game. And that's cool to see. We all saw the clip of the back shoulder in the back of the end zone. He kind of mossed Isaiah Bones-Jones, who isn't necessarily the best in coverage, but, plays on IU's defense in their top 10. So, I'm sure he can do that on a bunch of other linebackers across the country too. So, pumped to hear about that. That's just icing on the cake, honestly. Like Nowakowski first downs, like that's just gravy. That's just bonus, really. Just luxury.
Seems like there's a lot of that on this Indiana roster.
Yeah.
They asked Signetti about younger guys stepping up, kind of fishing for maybe like a Byron Baldwin or a Hollywood Bell or like type of esque of an answer. He didn't give anything of that sort. He said there's a lot of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And then they finished up with the offensive line. He said it's in a good place. It's starting to gel, but it's not game ready yet, which is like you saw a lot of Sig. He didn't pull back on his team, but it was very much of like things are going in the right direction, but we have a lot of work to do. It was very much the humble and hungry of continue to be humble, continue to be hungry. Even if they were practicing great and looking crisp and where he wanted them to be, he definitely wouldn't be telling them that, especially not to the media.
Oh, for sure. Not even before they played a snap. No.
All right. Do you want to speed run the Big Ten Network feature?
Yeah.
All right. Let's speed run the Big Ten Network feature. It was funny. Their questions to kind of start off the program was that Indiana had to address issues on both lines on complacency and then for leadership, which I literally wrote, LOL.
Yeah.
Like that's a wild thing to say.
I mean, you see they lose Kadick and they lose West, and like from afar, you think that's going to be a big problem and a big question they have to answer. But I mean, they brought in 2 D tackles, 2 DNs. They brought in Cougs, brought in 2 other O linemen as well. I mean, it's clearly needs to be addressed. I mean, if you just looked at Indiana's portal, it's clearly the narrative that you can construe from that portal class. So makes sense what they're saying. Obviously, they're trying to build a narrative and things like that. And, there's got to be some sort of question marks. They're not going to just call every team perfect.
No, I'm with it.
They'll do the same thing with Penn State, and they'll do it with Ohio State. And
No, I actually think the Big Ten Network does a really great job highlighting the
Mhm.
teams in the conference and showing respect regardless of how good or bad the teams are going to be. I really appreciate what they do. And so I
Mhm.
just thought leadership, specifically when you have somebody like Aiden Fisher in the room representing your program, is. But I
Yeah,
get it.
I
You
think
need
they're saying
a narrative.
specifically on the lines, right? Like,
Like Carter Smith is a 4-year starter in the Big Ten. Like Mikal Kamara is back on the defensive line. Like I thought leadership was lazy, but there's not many there aren't many questions about this team, and that's the point.
yeah,
Like you're gonna question the leadership of this Indiana football team. Like you could see that from
that's one of
100
the
miles
last
away.
things I'll question about this team. It's the leadership.
The first
I'll question Mendoza before that, to be
Well, I was gonna
honest.
say the first thing we got in terms of the way that they laid the show out was a double feature or double interview with Mendoza and Hemby. And within the first 2 minutes, both Mendoza and Hemby mentioned like wanting a national title. That
That
was something Hoosier
that was
Commish pointed
awesome.
out, and that was like I wrote that down here is too. They're both chasing national titles, chasing development with Sig and and staying in the Big Ten and all that stuff. And it's like these dudes are not shying away from their goal. Like it very similar to last year when Aiden Fisher was unapologetically telling people how like they were going to be good and win games and their goal was like multiple playoff games. Like they're doing the same thing this year. Like they're not running away from this at all.
It's the motherfucking program.
It's the
That's what
program.
it is. It's the program.
They talked about what it's like coming to a new team. Mendoza talked about having to earn it, having to build trust. Talked about what attracted them to Signetti. Hemby said that Sig's a winner. The program is a reflection of him, which I thought was an awesome answer.
Mhm.
Talked about the guys up front. Hemby said it makes his job tremendously easier. Talked about Coogan. He said we are like Coogan is just like being that leader and talking about celebrating with the running backs today and hyping people up, and guys like Carter Smith that are just rock solid doing their job and like just high praise for the offensive line.
Oh yeah.
And then on the offense, he said they want to be. It's very clear on what they want to do. The goal is to execute, protect the football.
Period. Score a
Period.
bunch, because that's what they like to do. Like that's what they mean by execute. Score a bunch. Don't turn it over. Keep it simple.
We got Bryant Haynes with Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith. They asked him about the characteristics of a Haynes team. He said they play hard, they communicate, fast, physical, relentless, resilient. Same characteristics as all Brian Haynes, Signetti teams. Talked about lessons learned from Signetti. He said, be true to who you are, speak with conviction, hold guys accountable, and to a high standard.
Mm-hmm. The program.
Talked about Aiden Fisher's communication. He said it's hefty in terms of content. He's coordinating all the front seven. Fish puts the whole thing together. So obviously, if you needed more, I guess needed to more understanding of how important Aiden Fisher is to this Hoosier defense specifically. Like he's the coach on the field. He's making all the calls. He's making all the adjustments. He's connecting the defensive line with the secondary. Like he's the guy.
Bro Hardy next year. That's why
Yep.
it's important for him to kind of learn under his wing.
They asked him, and this was a theme throughout the show. They called all the good teams Indiana played the big boys. And so they asked him about playing the big boys. And he said, we didn't win the line of scrimmage. He said, you have to produce the same way no matter who you're playing. Obviously, the coaches in that room understand the fact that they were pushed around a little bit on both lines. That's something they went out and addressed. And we'll see what happens. But they are confident they went out and addressed a lot of those needs. And they full blown understand where the
They're going to
problems
make
are.
progress for sure. How much progress they made, it remains to be seen. But it's definitely a level up from last year's in terms of quality. But yeah, it's going to be, we're not really going to know until we play Illinois and Iowa and Oregon. We're not going to know.
In terms of transfers, he highlighted Wyatt's versatility. Also, Wheeler and Ratcliffe as two guys who have made vast improvements. Obviously, that's going to happen a lot. You have, especially a defense that isn't necessarily a defense; it's more of an offense on defense where they're attacking and there's a lot of verbiage and it's a lot. Like the transfers get better as time goes on, and so those guys are going to continue to develop and get better within that system. And then they asked him about D'Angelo Pons. He talked about his competitive spirit. He said, you can't tell him he's too small to cover Jeremiah Smith. He said he wants to be great and he breeds confidence.
Mm-hmm. That's my corner. Need that at that position. You need
You
that.
really do. You really do. And it brings me back to what Pons was saying last week, where he's like, I don't like hitches caught on me in cover 3. He's like, I don't like catches. My coaches don't like catches. Nobody's allowed to catch the ball.
Yeah.
You can't do it. We got Signetti with Dave Rebzine. Asked him about changes from last year. He said he's got a lot of selfies at 5 a.m. when he's getting gas. So he's got people waiting outside the facility to take pictures, sign autographs when he goes home at night. He said they asked him how what the recognition means to him. He said it means a lot. Or the recognition for a lot of his guys like Kamara, like Fisher, like Pons, the guys who were at JMU with him. He said a lot of those guys. Sorry, I jumped ahead. They asked him about the recognition of like finally being on a stage like Indiana and like getting the respect of being the level of coach he is. And he said a lot of the guys on the list they flashed of like highest winning percentage in college football was like Ryan Day and Dabo and whoever else was on that list and Kirby Smart. He said a lot of those guys weren't even alive when he was standing on the sideline next to Bobby Bowden. So he said the mentality has changed.
Bobby Bowden had the second greatest run of any coach behind Nick Saban. So for those that don't know, in terms of the 90s, I think they finished top 3 in the AP poll for about 9 or 8 straight seasons, like something insane like that. An unreal run from Bobby Bowden. So he's had influences from arguably the 2 greatest college coaches of all time, and to have that in Indiana is just another luxury that we have. And we're speed running this, so I'm not gonna go on a tangent on how great Signetti is because we all know that. So
they asked about his fondest memories of last year. He said post coach's handshake, kind of walking back towards our fans, kind of what everything else is done. You can finally be satisfied with the game you played and kind of celebrating those moments. But he also specifically singled out Michigan State. He said there was a lot of good moments last year.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him how you turn the page. He said that's life. It's ground zero. Not looking to sustain, looking to improvement in tempo, better execution, but it's not perfect. Talking about practice. He said he's got about 6 guys banged up that should be back. Consistency is important. Haynes and Shanahan have been with him for 10 years. He said his job is to find the edge, organize the day, purposeful prep, things of that matter.
Hell yeah.
Asked him about his message to the team. He said set standards, expectation level, accountability, and everyone has to make the bar. If you can't make the bar, you're in the wrong place. 1 play at a time, 6 seconds of play, never satisfied. You know the spiel.
Oh, I know the spiel.
You know the spiel.
I know the spiel. You all know the spiel. Every play has a life and history of its own.
Talked about they asked him if the offensive line is an improvement this year, and he said it wasn't just the offensive line and the losses. There were a lot of miscommunications, missed assignments. The line has a chance to be real, real good.
O-line or D-line? O-line?
O-line.
Hell yeah.
They asked him about the skill set of Mendoza. He said, you'll find out.
Oh, that's... Wow. He doesn't say that stuff a whole lot. That is...
I like that one. He said, you're not going to get that one out of me.
The thing he said the whole interview. You got real cocky there.
Chills,
man.
They asked him this is what I got that question confused with. They asked him what it was like for his defensive stars to get recognition. He says, we don't have stars around here. He said a lot of confidence in those guys, really good football players, better people. Glad that they created a platform for them to achieve their goals. But again, he said we don't have stars.
That's an insane coach speak right there. That is nuts. That is so cool. He shot that down so fast.
It's like these guys are really you have a bunch of stars. Like, I don't have any stars. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Because every other coach would be like, yeah, like Ryan Day's a hell. Like he'd be like, yeah, Jeremiah Smith, yeah, Riley Freeman would be like, yeah, Riley Leonard's a hell of a player. Like he wouldn't. That's insane to just say that. on an interview too. Like it's supposed to be like fun and like no, he's like, no, we don't have stars.
So we don't have stars around here. What do you mean?
Who's talking
Oh, yeah, so that was great. Mike Shanahan was with Donardo next. That's about Mendoza recruiting portal quarterbacks versus high school quarterbacks. Portal quarterbacks, you could sell them on the production in the system opportunity with returning guys, portal guys. It's a little bit easier to reason or show a portal quarterback how you can build out the team in the portal versus trying to sell that vision to a high schooler who's going to have a lot of new experiences. You have somebody who has those experiences already.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him about the offensive line. He said it's great to have Benson back. Called Coogan a natural leader. Said the guy's played a lot of football.
Mm-hmm. He has. He's played a ton of it.
They asked him about playing the big boys. That was their favorite question of the episode. They said we have to be better, plain and simple. They've made some schematic changes. They have the experience of going through it. He said they're going to be subtle, probably not things that that people are going to be able to see, but things that are going to better help them deal with those environments moving forward.
100%. And with the big boys question, like I totally get it because that is like the looming question around this team, and as it should
really the
be.
only question.
It's the only question, right? And that's why I say stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months, stacking years. Like it just takes time to get there, and to have those questions already. Like this is what Penn State was dealing with like 5 years ago, and to already have that where it felt like it wasn't really happening to Penn State until like year 3 or 4 of James Franklin. To have that in Indiana already happening year 2. Is just insane. It just comes to show how ahead of schedule we are in terms of the program.
They asked him about being an offensive coordinator from the wide receiver room. He said he went to Signetti when Tino was hired, kind of with the idea. He said it gives the quarterbacks coach more time with the quarterbacks, and it ended up being a good partnership, something that worked out, something they moved forward with. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he was the one that kind of initiated that.
Mm-hmm.
And then being with Signetti a long time, he said he's great. He's very involved in the offense. He's always been striving for new things, and he's always looking to find new things, looking to find new innovations. Yep. Yeah. Their takeaways on the offense were that they hit some home runs on the offensive line. It's a good offensive line. Portal was a benefit. Looking at skill, this is quote, this is a dynamite team. Skill position, wide receiver group as talented as there is, coupled with run game, really good. Hemby, perfect fit. Mendoza, great presence. Other people follow him. He's a tremendous leader. He's a home run as well. Big arm, looks the part. Impressive practice he had when those guys were there.
Love it.
We then got Fisher and Pons with Howard. They asked him about how the defense is kind of an attacking defense. Fisher said it's the scheme. We're going to attack you, physicality and speed, which I absolutely love. And you get that sense watching the Brian Haynes defense plays. They're not waiting for things to happen. They're determining what's happening on the field. They asked Pons like what it's like for him because he doesn't play to his height. And he said he's always been overlooked. He plays for his family, and that's just not like his height is not something that he lets stop him.
Mm-hmm.
They asked Fisher about communication. He said everything goes through me, leader of the defense. They talked about the freedoms in the defense. He said discipline equals freedom. If you can make a play or if you see a play, go make it, but you better make it. So like they have the freedom to ad lib and kind of go make plays, but you better make a damn play. You better not leave the other guys in a bad spot. Which I really like. And it puts a lot of, like, Bro Hardy's talking about pre-snap indicators and understanding the playbook. And it puts a lot of emphasis on those guys to, like, if you really understand what you're looking at, you can go make plays. It's very freeing.
Love that. I mean, we already knew all these things.
Yep.
I would like to see more picks this year. Is something that I would have liked to ask them if I was, who was interviewing them?
Howard Griffith.
Yeah. If I was Howard Griffith, I would ask, are we going to get more picks this year?
Pons was asked about a talented secondary and specifically about Byron Baldwin Jr. He highlighted Baldwin as well as Hollywood Bell. They were asked if they play with an attitude. Pons said definitely. He said it starts with Sig, trickles down. They were asked they were asked, how do you respond to doubt? Fish says you don't. It doesn't matter. He said, keep it on Twitter. That's good with me. Perfect answer.
Flawless, really.
They asked Pons if it was different for him guarding guys of different sizes. He said no.
No.
Nope. And then one word to describe each other. Pons said dog. Fisher said relentless.
These guys are funny.
And then my note was they're questioning the interior of the defensive line, which I think is a strength.
Say that again.
They were questioning the interior of the defensive line,
which they see, the team sees as a strength.
I see it as a strength.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what we've been hearing.
And the takeaway from the
proven. I mean, we're replacing an NFL talent there, and I've said this over and over again. Like, it looks good, but in theory, that is the biggest spot we needed to fill, besides the quarterback, and
agreed.
That's probably the two biggest question marks: the quarterback play and interior D line. Like, that's just how it is. I'm not. I think they're going to be good. From what I've heard, they're going to be good. But, it's a question mark at the end of the day.
And the official takeaway from the defense is nothing is forced. Nothing.
We determine the outcome.
Yep. All right. That was Indiana's feature on the Big Ten Network. That's on YouTube now on the yeah. I mean, we want to go back and hammer like Mendoza or like
no, it's okay. It's okay.
The point was like, yeah, wait and see. Like we kind of know what we have here.
That's the vibe they were giving off, was just like, we're gonna come out there and we're gonna come out this year screaming, in the words of Carter Smith. So yeah, can't wait.
And I was gonna say that feature is available on Big Ten's YouTube page. So you can go check that out. It was 45 minutes. I tweeted it out. You can at Alec Keiser. Go find that link. All right, Brad, you want to talk about Puerto Rico? We lied to the listeners. I told the listeners we were putting basketball on the back burner until November. But Brad wants to talk about Puerto Rico. So let's talk
I did want to talk about Puerto Rico just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it was a great opportunity for the guys to, biggest thing was probably team bonding. Like, we're going to go outside of the games in terms of what happened. Like, we brought in this hodgepodge of transfers. None of these guys were on the team last year in Bloomington, and some of them know each other, like Enright and DeVries know each other. And I think Josh Harris and Josiah Miles played together last year. So like, there's some familiarity there, but for the most part, these guys are getting to know each other for the first time. So seeing them play a little beach volleyball action was something that was really cool to see. They're obviously, something that I noticed from that is that they're all very competitive, but they all like to have fun at the same time. And you ended up seeing that, in the games, the first game against some Puerto Rican university, poor kids, that wasn't even fun for anyone, I feel like. And, I think everyone was kind of just getting ready for, what was it? Mega Super Bet to come into town and play them. And they had a little double header against them, and both games, double-digit point comebacks. I mean, that's a clear sign of competitiveness. These games don't matter at all, but yet here they are fighting and scrapping, figuring out ways to win in August. I think that's a really good sign for what this team could be. Saw a lot of, and then another thing that I noticed I was watching some of the games, and I think the biggest standout was Sam Alexis. And I say this because he was putting up double-doubles in every game. And he's the one true 5 on the team. And I think the most common lineup in terms of minutes played in these games was Tatum Connerway alongside Lamar Wilkerson with DeVries, and then putting Bailey as natural position the 4 and rolling with Alexis at the 5. And that may not be the starting lineup, but that's going to be what looks to be early on our not closing lineup or down the stretch.
No, that's our counter to size.
Yeah, that is, and it looked really good. And another thing I noticed too was a lot of good team rebounding. DeVries was getting a lot of boards. Josiah Miles was getting a ton of boards. Bailey and Alexis were obviously getting a ton of boards. And
Conway I saw
you know,
Conway's stats. He had a couple too.
yeah,
I didn't get to watch a ton of the game though, so it's like
yeah.
or any of the
I
game
didn't watch the
really.
full games either, but just these are just things I'm picking up on. And they're really good signs early on. Obviously, we want to see them play an American college team to really get a sense of how good they're going to be. But it's very clear that they're meshing. Saw a lot of good actions, a lot of good sets, really good team rebounding. Lamar Wilkerson with a defensive stop at the end of the game to clinch the second game. Alongside countered in the possession before that, a nice pass from Lamar Wilkerson to Reed Bailey to take the lead, 81-80. I mean, when it came down to the stretch, like having those crucial in-game situations, obviously Tucker DeVries didn't shoot the ball very well out there, so he wasn't getting those late game looks. But to know that we can go Lamar Wilkerson, we can go Reed Bailey, you know, we got three options end of game, like who's getting that last shot. It seems like it's going to be those three guys moving forward. Lamar Wilkerson looks to be he looks to be meeting the hype a little bit. He looks like a great two-way player.
You
From
could
what we
shoot the
saw.
lights out of the
Yeah, and
ball.
he was shooting it really well too. And I'm not going to take a 3-game sample size to, look at shooting in any way. Trent Sisley shot the ball really well. Hope that continues. That'd be awesome if he becomes a big contributor. Saw a lot of good things from Alexa Ristich. He was getting some key minutes. And then Josh Harris. Josh Harris was getting a lot of boards when he was in. Very efficient. Like he would go in for 5 minutes and get 5 boards. Like he's probably the best rebounder on the team. So having that, I've named so many guys. So we have
you named the entire roster. Like
we have a ton of depth.
I don't know. It's
Nick,
hard for
Nick Dorn and Jason Drake didn't even play.
Yeah, like I'm glad they were able to get competitive games in against guys that weren't also in an Indiana uniform. I'm happy they won. I enjoy a lot of the ball movement and the way it looks like they're playing in some of the short clips I saw. But in all honesty, like you said to open this up, the biggest takeaway from this trip is the ability to build chemistry. Those dudes were able to go out there, have a good time. Nobody got hurt. They got good work in. They were pushed competitively. Like Ant Wright was somebody who was talking about how good that mega super bet team was. And he said there was an international scout that said that team's got one NBA guy and a bunch of really solid, fringe college European pro guys. And it's like that's not nothing competition. So the fact that they were able to get those games in, I don't really care that they were down 20. I'm glad they came back. But even if they lost those games, like the point of this trip
not about
wasn't
that they're down
to go
20,
3
it's
and
the fact
out.
that they came back. Like
Well,
they didn't
yeah,
have
but
to
the
do
point
that.
of the trip was to see what you look like on the basketball court together and become a team. And it seems like those two things were accomplished. And obviously it makes it 10 times better that they won. And so, and like the clips coming out of there of like DeVries going up and down the line and shaking everybody's hands who bought tickets, and like the experience, like we had a friend who was there. So that was pretty cool. And it's like, I'm glad the guys are happy. I'm glad the guys are healthy. I'm glad they'll be back in Indiana and just, approaching the season. But it's like, yeah, exactly. It's football season. Like I'm glad I feel good about Indiana basketball, but like I wouldn't feel bad about Indiana basketball if they didn't come away with 3 wins this week. It's just that wasn't the point of the trip. I think mission accomplished.
Yeah, I think if they didn't get the sweep, I don't even think we talk about it at all, to be honest, because I don't really think it matters so early. But the fact that it seems like they're a little bit ahead of schedule with those big wins, I think it's something to note. They're not going to get more than 10
I don't know
minutes.
how big the win is. Like there was no fans there. You know what I mean? Like there was no environment. Like you're playing with a different ball, different rules. Like it's like Indiana last year, and I'm not comparing this team to last year's team, and the vibes are completely different. But last year's team went into a closed scrimmage with fans at Tennessee and beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't put too much stock into the results of the games. The fact that they shot the ball well, moved the ball well, that guys were rebounding, that we were like pleasantly surprised with the performances of a lot of different guys that may have been potential question marks. And now we know that they have a couple of different lineups to counter that we aren't just thinking about in hypotheticals, like they were actually on the court together. These are all positives. I just don't want to put too much stock into what the results of these games.
Yeah, and the comebacks more so point toward the level of defense that's being played by these guys, because
and the competitiveness as well.
To be able to come back 20, you got to get at least 10 stops, at least. So their ability.
They went on a 70-19 run.
Insane.
Lamar Wilkerson's reaction to that was very funny. If you can go find the clip, I highly recommend it.
Fun. All right, yeah, we said we wouldn't give them more than 10 minutes, so we're about up at time with basketball. So enough of basketball until they tip off in November. We'll talk. We'll cover it when they're on.
We'll bring them up periodically if they do something good. Like they're starting to pop up in like the top 7s and the top 12s and the top 5s. And it's like obviously with basketball, you want to get into those top 3s and then see them start closing some of these. But it's too early for that. Like visits are going to start coming like during football season, and that's another advantage for Indiana that we'll hopefully see pay dividends. Is like the football environment that you're going to be able to use towards basketball recruiting is going to help that as well. And it's not that Indiana struggles to recruit for basketball. They don't, obviously, but just another feather in the cap.
I don't know in the DeVries era, but it seems like everything's off to the races. Already got a 4-star guard. But yeah, I guess, are we wrapping up here?
That's all I got for this week, Brad. You got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, you always go closing thoughts. I was thinking about doing closing thoughts on you first to kind of throw it off, but I think it's a good tradition that you just asked me for closing thoughts. And we're wrapping up. School's about to start, so camp's wrapping up, and they're going to be more into a typical game week cadence when it comes to practices, and that's going to be really exciting for them as they kind of get into the groove of the season and approach what is going to be a very sneaky good Old Dominion team that is looking to win their own conference. So we'll preview them on game week, but yeah, a lot to look forward to. A bigger test than a lot of people are giving them credit for. Obviously, it's not Texas week 1, but it's Old Dominion, and they're a conference contender in their own right. This isn't they're probably a top 15 group of 5 team this year, and they're no slouch, right? Like if we don't show up with our A game, they can make it close. So yeah, getting ready for that, and yeah, super excited to kind of get into the season where we're going to 2 weeks. We still got to figure out our
we'll get itinerary and all that good stuff. We'll be figured out over the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, run by the boss man a little bit too. I'm sure. And,
I'm sure we'll get marching orders.
Yeah.
But I'm just pumped for the season. I'm at the Signetti point of like, what are we gonna get from Mendoza? Like, you'll see. Like I'm at the point where I'm just done arguing with people on Twitter about it. Like, not that I'm gonna stop. Like I got caught up 2 hours today with some dude that had but gotta keep the pressure going. But just like I'm at the point where it's like, yeah, cool. You can keep doubting this team. Like they're gonna play football in 3 weeks. Like you can choose to tune in if you want, or you can keep living in your fantasy world. And that's the point I'm at. It's like this is a really good football team. Go up and down the roster. You look at the coaching staff. You look at the quarterback position. You look at the lines, both of them. You look at the talent they have returning production. Like it's. People want to talk about what metrics to use to determine whether a team's good or not. And then like after we determine all those metrics, they still go look at strength of schedule and the AP poll. It just drives me absolutely crazy. It's insane. But the numbers will be what the numbers will be. And this Indiana football team is going to be really good. And that's the exciting part.
Yeah. I'm excited because the Big Ten, it's a big question mark this year. I'm hearing Lincoln Kleinholz is holding on to that Ohio State starting job.
The West Dakota Heisman?
He's got a stranglehold on it right now, and he's not letting it go to saying so soon. And you could argue the same thing's going on in Oregon too. They have a really good backup over there. They haven't announced a starter. Might not be Dante Moore going into the year. So a lot of question marks in the Big Ten, and I think it leaves, like I've been saying all offseason, leaves it susceptible for a newcomer to kind of knock on the door, make some real noise. Obviously, we made some noise last year, but I'm talking going to Indy. Right. And
chaos is a ladder, Brad.
Yeah, maybe we play Penn State twice this year. That's what I'm thinking about right now. And yeah, just looking forward to the season and yeah, taking it 1 week at a time. It's off season mode, so we can talk big picture, but anyone who's watched Sigs Inside knows that once we get in season, it's strictly week to week, and we focus on 1 week at a time. We focus on Old Dominion. We're gonna have a whole preview show on Indiana State and Kennesaw State. We're gonna go into those teams and really learn about them, and it's going to be a fun time. You guys are going to really enjoy it in terms of how we do game week, and yeah, looking forward to finalizing that schedule.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And you can see all of that if you follow us or subscribe to Indiana at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We're chasing 500 subs before the season starts. We're close. I believe we're at 478. So I'm thinking we could get there before the season starts.
I think we can get there. I think we can get there before Thursday. How about that, guys?
That's
How about that?
Indiana at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell the Kroger cashier, as Jackson Johnson likes to say. You can follow the Voice of College Football at the VOCFB. You can follow Indiana VOCFB on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow me at Alec Keyser. Follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Appreciate everybody for being in the chat. We'll be back same time next week talking Hoosiers. And Brad's right. As the season gets closer, our lens gets tighter, and we narrow in on what's right in front of us. And so very, very excited for Indiana Hoosiers football. We'll see you guys next week.
Go Hoosiers.
Go
Never
Hoosiers.
daunted.